Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2024 movie titled 1992. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The film begins in Los Angeles, April 1992, with Mercer receiving a call from Child Protection Services after taking conditional custody of his son, Antoine. While on his way to wake up Antoine for school, a man named Riggin encounters his partner Copeland and offers him to join him in a final robbery so they can leave this lifestyle and live peacefully. Back at Mercer's house, he provides Antoine with breakfast, which he does not consume. Meanwhile, the news reports that a white cop called Rodney King brutally beat up a black innocent guy with some of his officers and is now on trial, capturing the interest of the black community. Mercer tries to speak with Antoine, but he wants an explanation for abandoning him throughout his childhood and failing to attend his mother's accident. Mercer tolerates his attitude, but he loses his cool and yells at him for using profanity under his breath after Mercer imposes a curfew on him after school hours due to the worsening Rodney situation. Riggin, on the other hand, picks up his brother Dennis and visits his jerk of a father to demonstrate how they intend to carry out their theft. Meanwhile, Mercer visits a grocery store and discovers several rookie thugs harassing the Asian cashier. Mercer calmly tells them not to harass the woman, so they take out their guns and place them over his head. Suddenly, their elder DeVille pulls them back and scolds them for not knowing who Mercer is or how important he was in their community back then. DeVille personally apologizes to Mercer and inquires as to when he was released from jail, admitting why he was unable to be present for his family. Mercer claims that he was out 6 months ago and is currently keeping a low profile. Back on Riggin's side, he brings his father to a factory, where his inside source has given him all the data and blueprints of a safe containing $10 million in platinum. The safe is composed of solid material and is protected by an alarm that quickly lowers a metal cage that surrounds it. Despite the well-planned theft, the father is hesitant to carry out such a large operation and criticizes his lack of professionalism in avoiding the factory's security and cameras. This act adds to the numerous horrible things Riggin has tolerated from his father, but he keeps it quiet and brings his father home. Behind them comes Mercer, a platinum factory employee, driving his automobile. While retrieving his card and keys, he sparks up a chat with the security director, Joseph, about the Rodney King case, which might lead to serious consequences if the verdict goes against the black victim. As Mercer starts working, Dennis and Riggin are shown liking each other. Dennis, like a nice brother, comforts Riggin after their father rejects his plan. Later that day, the news that Rodney had been found not guilty by the jury shocked the media and the black community. A violent protest breaks out in Los Angeles, gradually becoming larger and more turbulent. Antoine returns home from school and notices a commotion outside their house where people are looting a booze shop. Riggin sees the news on TV and decides to carry out his heist now that the cops are preoccupied with the commotion. He phones his father, who agrees to make the move. Meanwhile, Mercer and the other manufacturing workers are given the remainder of the day off to go home safely. Riggin's source within the factory briefs him on the situation, so he gets Dennis and rushes to begin his theft. They pick up Copeland from his house. His wife is currently pregnant, so he asks her to stay inside while he is away. Back in the factory, Mercer politely asks Joseph if he can bring Antoine in because his house is located in the middle of a dark hood, which he believes is unsafe for his son at the moment. Joseph has a warm spot for him, so he offers to keep him and Antoine safe within the plant. On the other hand, Riggin goes to pick up his father and is upset with him for hiring 2 thugs to guard him. Mercer travels through the ruckus to rescue his son, only to discover the house is vacant. While the police cars approach the riot, Dennis drives the van to the factory. Joseph grows tired of sitting in front of the surveillance monitors, so he takes a tour of the building. Riggin tases and ties up the security man outside before driving their van through the main door. They make their way through the loading docks, expecting no one is there, but when they come upon Joseph by the vending machine, Riggin politely attempts to get him out of their way, but his father's men shoot him on the spot, startling the brothers. Riggin threatens to shoot the thug, and vice versa, but their father breaks up the argument by reminding them that they share the same interest, platinum. The thugs cut the phone lines and CCTV cameras before driving a forklift to the safe room and positioning their equipment to breach the safe. Mercer eventually discovers his kid standing still near a grocery shop being plundered by black men. On the contrary, the thugs begin drilling a hole through the safe. Joseph regains consciousness and pushes the safe's security button. This causes the metal cage to lower, and Riggin promptly drives the forklift forward to stop it. Copeland's leg becomes trapped under the front tire and is crushed. Riggin panics and attempts to push the forklift back to rescue his friend, but his selfish father resists because the cage will collapse otherwise. Riggin curses at his father for being a menace, so he has his thugs steal the forklift's keys to keep Riggin from pushing it back. Simultaneously, An air patrol chopper is notified of the factory's alarm, prompting them to pay a fast visit. Meanwhile, Antoine attempts to flee the car and join the heated demonstration, but Mercer pulls him back inside, arguing that violence is not an option for something that is not new. He tries to reason with Antoine, making him see how they're ruining their own town, which is what the cops want in the first place. Back in the factory, the thugs deactivate the alarm and shoot Joseph again. Mercer and Antoine travel through a tough area where a bunch of black men are terrorizing an innocent white couple, so Mercer gets out of his car and beats the black men to save the white couple before telling them to speed away. The burglars use everything they have to blow up the safe, but they stop when the helicopter flies overhead. The officers in the helicopter find the area peaceful, so they fly away. Mercer and Antoine are randomly pulled over by cops who have imposed their own curfew. They mistreat with Mercer and Antoine because they are black and pull them out of their car for a warrantless search. After finding nothing in their car, they let him and his son go, but seeing the indifference traumatizes Antoine. On the other hand, the evil guys eventually open the safe with explosives and become millionaires. Riggin leaves to prepare the van, while Dennis walks to the washroom to wash Copeland's blood from his hands. At that point, Mercer enters with Antoine, who considers the absence of the main door security guard unusual. He still goes in and points Antoine to the bathroom because he needs to pee. Dennis is startled when Antoine enters, so he points his gun at him. Simultaneously, Mercer discovers Joseph has been shot, so he takes his gun and rushes forward, where the thugs fire at him. He flees and searches for Antoine, only to discover that he has disappeared. He rushes to the loading dock and disables the electricity before confronting the thugs. He hits one of the two guys and sprints back to the loading dock, where he sees Riggin park the van. He knocks him out with a single punch and carries him away. Dennis brings Antoine to his father, who interrogates him in front of a wailing Copeland, whose leg had to be amputated. Mercer attempts to interview Riggin, but when he receives no response, he concludes that he is here to steal the platinum, so he slips into the safe room and observes Riggin's father threatening his son. When Copeland's screams become intolerable to him, he shoots him multiple times, traumatizing both Dennis and Antoine. Antoine, on the other hand, persuades him that he came here to hunt for his missing father, who works here, so the elderly man feels generous and lets him go. Unfortunately, his goons arrive at the same time and claim that Riggin has been kidnapped. The elderly man quickly calls Antoine back and curses him for lying about his father. He decides to use him as bait to get Riggin back, so he retains him and sends the thugs to check on the vehicle, where they discover the rotor is missing. Mercer flees the room and attempts to signal a patrolling chopper for assistance, but it flies away. One of the guys ambushes him from behind and beats him up in order to reclaim the van's rotor, which he stole to prevent the vehicle from starting. Mercer cusses him out and fights back. Finally, he shoots him, causing him to smash the safe room's glass roof and fall in front of the elderly man. Mercer goes back to Riggin and unties him. He feels sorry for him since he has a callous father, stating that he recently shot a black man on his own team in front of his son. Riggin believes it was Copeland, so he turns on his father. Meanwhile, the elderly guy and one of his minions splattered acid all over the vault and various artifacts across the room before packing the platinum and departing. Dennis gets down with Antoine and asks whether he knows where Riggin is, but Antoine denies knowing anything. The old guy finally strikes a bargain via communication and instructs Mercer to come to the loading dock for an exchange without a weapon. Riggin warns him that it's a trap since Antoine is a witness, and his father never spares witnesses. As a result, Mercer relies on Riggin, who cooperates. Dennis is seen at the loading docks carrying the platinum into the van. The old man repairs the van's rotor but chooses to shoot Antoine to punish the thug Mercer just killed. Mercer instantly pushes Riggin toward the van and fires his gun, shooting Dennis. Finally, Riggin assists Dennis in getting into the vehicle driven by Mercer and Antoine, who depart with the platinum. Riggin's father, hungry for money, steals Mercer's car near the main gate with his thug and pursues them. When Dennis dies in Riggin's hands, he is so heartbroken that he opens the van door and begins shooting at his father, during which the thug shoots him in the chest. Before passing out, he manages to shoot the thug, but Antoine and Mercer become distracted by the gunshots and wreck the van badly. The elderly man approaches the van and notices all of his platinum lying worthless on the ground. He watches Riggin almost dead and apologizes for never being good enough for him before shooting him in the head. When he hears Mercer pulling himself out of the van, he approaches to shoot him, but Antoine shoots him from behind with his shaky hands, saving his father. The movie closes with the father and son hugging each other and driving away in their automobile. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.